This time we look at some of the new bikes you can expect for 2026 as featured at Motorcycle Live. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help us create future content. One pleasing aspect of the MCL show this year was just how busy it was. And indeed crowds were as big as I've seen for some years. Now there was an awful lot to see at the show this year with lots of new models from a whole variety of different companies. So we've broken it down into two videos. In part 1 we're going to cover some of the major Japanese makes and some of the big name players. But don't worry, if you don't see your favourite company in this video, it's likely going to appear in part 2. Plus a few other machines besides. Like much of the Ducati range, the latest version of the Monster is fitted with the new V2 engine. This is an 890cc unit that makes around 111 horsepower, which is fitted in various states of tune across the range, from 111 to 120 horsepower. Now while this does mean that the new Panigale V2 is less powerful than its predecessor, it's also much more road user friendly, and the engine itself is simpler and provides longer service intervals.
Is that right, Tom?
The comfort seat's actually not so bad.
Oh, is it now? Is it better than before?
It feels in the same seating position as like my Duke. It's
Right,
quite relaxed.
so yeah, well, relatively.
The billing though, so nice.
The top of the sporting range is the Panigale V4 with its 1103cc engine which claims in excess of 200 horsepower.
It's more aggressive, but it's not like that.
Radical, isn't it?
It's not like it's better than the 916.
Yeah. I think they've realised that basically most bikers are old farts, and they better build bikes that old farts can get on, aren't they, really?
While at the other end of the range, the Scrambler continues to use the older air-cooled 803cc motor. Just like the rest of the range, the Multistrada is available with the V2 engine.
It looks like we're maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't tell. It still feels as like comfortable.
Think it's lower than
It feels wider. Oh, this looks.
Wide edges here, isn't it? Does that feel
Do
weird?
you think it's like a big tank or? No, you don't really notice. It just looks. Do they have a bigger tank?
While the range topper is equipped with the 1158cc V4 engine, claiming 170 horsepower at 10,750 RPM.
What's that like?
Not quite flat-footed on this.
It's quite tall then.
It's called sport.
It does look very broad as well, doesn't it?
Well, that's a bit much, isn't it? Carbon fibre wind protectors.
Similarly, the Street Fighter is also available with the V2 or the potent V4 motor.
What's that like? Quite wrist heavy or?
Yeah, it goes quite wrist heavy. It doesn't feel. I just wouldn't find them compared to like the actual sports bikes. They don't feel as natural
Yeah.
to lean forward. Just I don't know. I just feel not very comfy.
Next up was the Yamaha stand. On display was some of their potent racing machines. We however started with something a bit more humble.
God, the seat feels fucking rock hard.
It's 805.
This makes the Ducati seats feel super comfy. It feels like a fucking wooden plank.
You're really stiff.
Yeah, just,
Why do people make bikes so comfortable?
also the switch gear is horrible. It's got that like little. This
It's
is
just
most
like a
bit now.
printed, like a printed circuit board, PCB one.
And then also this is new and it's already like it's a wiggle to it.
Suboptimal, isn't it?
One of the more popular Yamahas at the show was the XSR 900, available in Marlboro colours or in Kenny Roberts yellow, white and black, making use of Yamaha's excellent 890 triple.
Yeah, it's like when doing the...
Switchgear lets it down, doesn't it? The fit's not bad, it feels a bit like an 80s bike. So they've gone for a 350LC look on this one. Which, yeah, I'm not too sure it comes off.
The 321cc R3 has been around for a very long time now.
Has to win the award for the most height approachable little sports bike so far then.
The switchgear is actually nice. It's satisfying.
Yeah, it's got more conventional switchgear, hasn't it? It's much nicer. It's a bit more tactile, isn't it?
Like mini motor.
It's a little bit cramped, are you?
The bike makes a claimed 41 horsepower, but in truth is a little bit behind the curve compared to the other Japanese opposition. New to the sporting range is the R9, with its 890cc engine claiming 118 horsepower.
It was a lot more cranked over than the Panigales.
It's a lot more bad, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but even compared to the Panigales, which is strange.
Panigales have got more street focus though now, the V2s in particular.
As Tom pointed out, it does have a very uncompromising riding position. There is, however, an A2 version available. On the Honda standby there were a couple of new CBs to get excited about. There was also the expansion of the E-clutch range for 26. Last year the system was only available on the 4-cylinder CB650 range, but this has now been expanded to include bikes much lower down the range like the NX500, which is an update of the old CB500X.
There's a certain difference range for
It feels harder, the seat does.
less comfortable.
Yeah.
Retrograde, isn't it?
Seating position is the same.
The bodywork of course looks very different than the old CB500X, but underneath it's still the same bike that's been around for quite some time now. The E-clutch is a little different than the old dual clutch system found on some models. It is certainly more compact and less bulky, and effectively turns the bike into a semi-automatic motorcycle if you want to. Unlike DCT, there's still a clutch lever fitted. The NC750X still has the DCT system as an option, if you're not a fan of clutch levers.
This is dual clutch as well. No, that's a proper DCT one. So that's a handbrake, so that it doesn't roll back on hills when you're on the side stand.
The DCT system does add some weight and some cost, but is nevertheless a very effective system, but I'm not sure Deb is completely convinced.
Where do I put my hand?
Honda had the new WN7 electric street bike on show. It's available in two forms, as a 67 horsepower full-blooded bike, but also as a learner-friendly 15 horsepower version too. As you might expect from an electric vehicle, acceleration is very good. Range however does remain a problem, with just 95 miles the best you can hope for. Honda's Hornet Twin has had some minor tweaks this year, including some new graphics, which I think were much needed. This is a rather bland looking bike from some angles. But also it's now available with the E-clutch, like so many machines in the range. The GB350 was a bike originally designed of course for the Indian market, but just like Royal Enfield's 350s, it's proving to be somewhat popular in the UK and European markets too. Honda's Rebel range these days has become quite extensive, and from next year the popular cruiser will be available with the new E-clutch system. And indeed these are very capable and very accessible machines, especially if you're not very tall. That is of course if you can get past the rather gawky looks. The Hornet 500 is yet another model which is going to be available with the E-clutch next year. Let's not fool anybody, of course the Hornet is a reworking of the old CB500F. It's been around a long time now, but remains an excellent machine.
I'm not flat-footed. I'm not flat-footed, I'm on the balls of my feet, but I feel comfortable.
No doubt the big selling points for these bikes are their ease of use and the excellent fuel economy from the parallel twin 470 engine. The current generation Goldwing Flat 6 had a major revamp a few years ago, knocking off a few pounds and giving it an all new chassis, so this year it's really just down to a few detail improvements.
Do you want to get music on? A bit of K-pop?
Steady music going, isn't it?
Yeah.
I find that one of the upgrades for this year has got more speakers. Which just shows you where this thing's targeted, doesn't it?
Keyless again.
The Honda Cub, one of Deb's favourite all-time bikes, and of course the best-selling vehicle of all time. One of the things you don't appreciate about these machines is just how roomy they are for such a small machine.
Is there a lot of room for a passenger?
Honda's new Hornet-based CB1000 is clearly aiming squarely at Kawasaki's Z900. And overall I'd say it does a pretty good job of aping the style of the CB900 and 750 range of the early 80s. For me, however, one area where the bike really falls down is in the display. The squared off LCD display serves to shatter the whole illusion, and really compared to the Z900 it really does let the sight down. Overall the bike is obviously going to be very capable, but for me that display really shows a lack of attention to detail for Honda. Meanwhile, over in the Suzuki stand, not that much seems new from the previous year. However, there was one returnee to the range which I know will please a great number of people. And with the GSXR range now turning 40, yes 40, how old do you feel? It seemed appropriate that Suzuki would bring the model back with a special 40th anniversary edition. The 40th anniversary edition is now Euro 5 Plus compliant, but still offers the rider 194 horses. And Suzuki's big V-Strom remains a very capable but very much underrated machine.
What's the switch gear? Oh, it looks like the Yamaha switch gear, yeah, quite.
No, it's quite a lot nicer than the Yamaha one. The Yamaha one was shit.
Nice tactile gear.
Yeah, it feels nicer.
Oh, that's really stiff.
Well, it's new, isn't it? So. Oh, put that right. It's not a huge range of movement, but there is movement.
Huh?
Yeah, you could pull it with the bar and make that a bit easier. You have to do the
You'll
lap.
have to do it before.
You'd have to be riding.
Yeah, you couldn't do it while you were riding, unless you wanted an accident. You could definitely do it if you wanted to crash.
The bike's only real drawback, as Deb demonstrates, is that particularly tall seat height. Now that machine's smaller brother, the 800 V-Strom, is of course very different, making use as it does of a parallel twin engine, albeit with a 270 crank with twin balance shafts, so it does have that V-twin sound. Now that 776cc engine does produce around 83 horsepower, so performance is reasonable for the capacity of the bike. Another great feature is its 20 litre fuel tank, which given Suzuki's claimed fuel consumption figures, should see you travelling a fair distance between fuel ups. Now it's a range of bikes which was clearly intended to replace the old SV range, but those V-twins do remain popular. Recent years have seen a minor revival for the sports touring motorcycle. Suzuki's entry into this market is the GSX-S 1000 GT. I think this is a very nice looking machine, and while its performance isn't class leading, that old K5 Gixxer engine does give the bike excellent performance.
Right.
Yeah, the riding position isn't bad. But
Yeah.
the seat is rock hard.
Yeah, and also passenger accommodation.
Yeah.
For what's supposed to be a touring bike, it's shite really,
And you
isn't it?
think?
Far too small.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Quite close to the
Yeah.
companion.
It's not a bad touring bike if you want to. It's not great touring. It's simply not the room. Quite low seat though and comfortable.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it's very firm. So the seat falls down there. It looks nice and it's a pretty bike.
A broadly similar performance is the new GX range, which Suzuki describes as the ultimate sports crossover, whatever that means. If you thought the new parallel twin would kill off the old SV, it seems we were wrong, because 2026 will see the introduction of the SV7 GX, an updated form of the SV which I think employs some very nice styling touches.
You have to wonder why it's been updated. Is it just that the SV engine generally is so popular?
So the sitting position feels like the naked version of the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not up or upright.
It's not like the V-Strom where it's more adventure style.
That's quite stiff. Clutch.
Clutch heavy, is it?
Yeah, clutch heavy. Fit on balls.
It's quite low actually, isn't it? Because it's looking vaguely adventure style, but it's not an adventure bike, any stretch.
Seat feels hard still.
Right?
Seat feels hard.
It's hard, yeah. Bit of a Suzuki theme in it.
Yes indeed, it really seems as if the old SV just refuses to lay down and die, and it's a bike that isn't going out to pasture anytime soon. Over on the Kawasaki stand, the big news perhaps is the introduction of a small bike, relatively speaking of course, the KLE 500. The new machine is intended as a replacement for the old KLR 650, a machine not seen in Europe for some years now. The machine makes use of a variant of the Z500 parallel twin unit. Now the machine could be seen as an alternative to Honda's NX500, but in reality it looks much more off-road focused and much more purposeful than that bike. But like the Honda, its 451cc engine is targeted specifically for that A2 bike category, one which is increasingly lucrative today. As of course is the market for smaller adventure bikes, with a number of companies now designing machines specifically for that market. For me, Kawasaki's Z650 is a styling exercise that almost pays off. There are a lot of nice touches about this bike, such as the dials and the general proportions and layout. But what it falls down for me is the styling of that engine. The engine is an important lump in a bike of this nature, and it just doesn't look classic enough. It looks a little bit like an afterthought. Maybe they could have added on some vestigial fins or something like that to improve the look of the bike, but ultimately aren't we all thinking, shouldn't a Z650 be a 4? But whatever my feelings, there's no doubt it's a fine and very usable motorcycle. By contrast, the bike's bigger brother, the Z900, with its mighty 4-cylinder engine, for me does a much better job of aping the original. This black edition is new for 2026 and I think it looks spectacular, with a mean and moody feel. And that big lump of a 948cc engine makes a healthy 115 horsepower. It's very usable and flexible and of course makes all the right sounds. And unlike the Honda, those traditional looking dials do help to set the feel and don't break the illusion. The bike of course features all the mod cons, but there's no doubt it's one of the nicest retros produced by the Japanese companies. By contrast, at the other end of the scale, Kawasaki now introduced the new W230. This is clearly a machine targeted at that very lucrative, smaller classic bike market, and this one is particularly small. With an engine of just 233cc and just 17 horsepower, it takes its place in Kawasaki's ever-broadening range. BMW. The company is of course most associated with those big boxer twins, and for us the classically styled 1200 range is just about as nice as their bikes get, aesthetically at least. And in fact Tom was particularly taken with the looks of this R12 GS, a machine which harks back to the styling of the first GS's of the 1980s.
Saying I'd be interested to have a test ride of it.
It would be interesting, yes.
I'd like to test ride it.
We particularly like the Spartan looks of this bike, which stood in stark contrast to the rather gadget-driven machines elsewhere in the GS range. The current iteration of the GS has been around for a couple of years now. It's a few pounds lighter than the previous model and at least has the virtue of symmetry in its styling, a design concept which BMW have struggled with in the past. The current 1300cc Boxer claims 145 horsepower at 7,750 RPM. With a maximum torque, a very credible 149 Nm at 6,500 RPM. It's a well-equipped and supremely capable road machine. In reality, as the engines become more powerful, it's become increasingly less flexible. And even with all those electronic rider aids, the bike still weighs in at a hefty 269 kilos. So despite all those aspirational videos, it does represent quite a hefty proposition if you're into serious off-roading. That said, this is a comfortable, capable and imperious long-distance tourer. With more gadgets they can shake a very large stick at, with BMW's control wheel system being excellent and very intuitive in use. But it was the smaller end of the GS range which attracted more attention this year, with the introduction of the all-new F450 GS. This engine-built machine uses a parallel twin engine of 420cc, which claims 48 horsepower, so should be available A2 compliant. And with a wet weight of just 178 kilos, it seems a much better proposition if you're planning a real off-road long-distance journey. On the demerit side, the fuel tank holds just 14 litres, but this should be offset by the machine's claimed excellent fuel consumption figures. In terms of gadgets, the machine has some of those featured on the larger machines. And this is no bad thing, because the machine is entering what is a highly competitive corner of the market currently. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for now, but do look out for part 2, which is coming very soon, which of course will feature big news about the all new Nortons.